And on this occasion, I'm in transit, and this story is about being in transit, delivering collecting a package and delivering a package, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. But the difference of this today is I know what the package is, I know the person involved, and I know the person who I was meeting to deliver the package. The story does not have those same details whatsoever. The story goes back to about 10 years ago. I'm here 11 years almost. It goes back to about 10 years ago when I first came here. I was on a 30-day visa, as I know it's different now, but at the time when you arrived in Thailand on an Irish passport, and I can only speak about Irish passports, I don't know about British or American or Australian, whatever, but at the time on an Irish passport it was 30 days. And I had met my wife at the time, my wife to be, but obviously we weren't married, so I couldn't avail of the non-immigrant O visa, which I'm on now, you see, which gives you a year in the kingdom. But at that stage I was allowed 30 days, and basically I needed to leave Thailand and come back again to re-establish a visa thing, you know. But you see, I had just at that stage I'd exhausted all my visa runs. I was on a business visa at that stage, my very last one. A business visa at the time, again at the time in my experience, I don't know what it is now, but it afforded you 4 90-day visas, so 3 months, so 12 months. And I just about finished all of that. And I needed to go back out of the country again and come back in as a tourist just before we got married. And my wife to be, or my wife now, knew a businessman at the time who was involved in rice imports and exports. Now I didn't question, now I stress rice imports and exports, I didn't question, you know, who imports rice into Thailand? It's like importing Guinness into Ireland. Like, you just don't do it, like there's no need. But at the time, I'm trying to negotiate a passage here as we speak, at the time I didn't question it. So the deal was, let's call this guy Mr. Ping, and the person I was meeting, we'll call him Mr. Pong. It's quite easy, simple, it won't get mixed up. So Mr. Ping and Mr. Pong. My wife's associate was Mr. Ping, and Mr. Ping needed someone to go to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam to collect rice samples. And he told me, or my wife told me, that if I went to Ho Chi Minh for him to collect some rice samples, he would pay for my airfare and my hotel and afford me the opportunity to do my visa run and get it was actually 2 nights I was there, and get 2 nights in Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh is a free agent. It was very nice indeed, very, very attractive proposition, and I took it before I kind of had time to digest the whole thing, you see. Why was he importing or looking for rice samples from Vietnam? Because Thailand is probably the largest rice exporter in the world. Well, if it's not, it's close to that. So I began to think, before I left, I don't know how much time I had. I probably had about 2 or 3 days before I left to think about it. So I was giving her a fair amount of thought. I mean, but I didn't want to say it to my wife because I didn't know her all that well. I knew her, but I didn't, you know, I hadn't known her that long, put it that way. And I didn't know Mr. Ping from Adam. So basically, I didn't want to question him because saving face in Thailand and insulting people and all this kind of stuff, you know yourself. So essentially, I went, and the arrangement was I was to meet Mr. Pong in a hotel in Ho Chi Minh on the day I was leaving. So let's say I was arriving on a Friday. I was met actually by an associate of Mr. Ping, a very beautiful Vietnamese girl who met me at a bar. The taxi, she just spoke to the taxi driver and I called her when I got there, and she brought me to the hotel, brought me to the door of my room actually. But at that stage she just handed the keys and said bye bye. I mean, I didn't think anything was going to happen, but you know, when a beautiful Vietnamese girl meets you, you know, from the plane and brings you to the hotel and opens your hotel room door, you know. But anyway, nothing happened. But there you are. That was nothing to do with the story. Well, it was something to do with the story, but however, I got to stay in the hotel, but I arrived on the Friday, and let's say on the Sunday I was going home. The arrangement was that Mr. Pong would contact me, my details would be forwarded to him, and he would arrange to meet me in the hotel reception at a certain time on Sunday morning, and that's what he did. I forget what time he called me, but it was 12 o'clock, let's say. He was to meet me in the hotel reception. I came down, and he was there with a briefcase, or some kind of attaché case or whatever. And he opened it up, and he had indeed rice in bags. And he took out 4 Ziploc bags and poured the rice poured 4 different grades of rice into the 4 Ziploc bags. He asked me to sample, to taste each one. I mean, asking an Irishman to sample rice, you know, what the hell do I know about rice? Rice is rice as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I just said okay. But when all was said and done, I had about 3 or 4 hours to play with before I got the flight back to Bangkok. I was thinking to myself, I got 4 bags of a substance resembling rice. You know, it probably was rice, but you know, how am I to know? It could be something in the form of rice or something else mixed in with it. But I was kind of really worried about this, so I went and had a few beers to calm my nerves. And I remember going to the airport in the taxi and thinking about all these YouTube videos that I'd seen about being banged up abroad and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I got into the airport, went through customs, and I was expecting them to stop me, but they didn't. Because the 4 bags of this would have shown up on the screen. Maybe they had, I don't know, but they didn't stop me. But then I says to myself, I'm coming back to Bangkok, and I don't know what the name of the hotel was I stayed in Ho Chi Minh, but I had visions of the Bangkok Hilton. You know, you don't bring packages that you don't know what's in it into Bangkok, you know. So that was really playing on my mind big time. And we got back to Bangkok anyway, went through, and I was fully expecting to be stopped. But nothing happened. Nothing happened. They must have shown up on the screen, but nothing happened. I was just waved through. So obviously it was rice, but how was I to know? Because it was extremely suspicious for me meeting a strange guy, Mr. Pong, in the reception of a Ho Chi Minh hotel, and him giving me 4 Ziploc bags with different grades of rice to bring back to Bangkok as rice samples. Why did they need me to do that? There's all these questions were coming into my mind. Anyway, all was good in the end. Got me me visa and married my wife, and I'm still here to tell the tale. There you go. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did and you haven't done so already, click that notifications bell, click the like button, click the share button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.